Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Are you interested in teaching English? Are you interested in getting the qualification for teaching English? Are you interested in maybe getting more money for your time and your effort? If your answers to any of these questions is yes, so stay tuned and I'm going to tell you how I got qualified. Okay, so obviously this video is for people who speak English fluently and who are interested in pursuing a long-time career in teaching English. This would be their full-time job, or it could be a part-time job as well. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Imad Saadeddin, and I am a qualified Celta-trained English trainer. I have been for more than 10 years and I love it. Now, for me to get this far was not a walk in the park. It wasn't very easy at first. So let's just, go back a little and tell you about myself and tell you my story and how I got there. I actually got married when I was very young. I was still in university. I have not finished at that time. And I had my first daughter when it was almost time for my graduation. And then I had my second daughter. And for me, I was very happy staying at home, actually refusing to work and wanting to commit myself to raising my two daughters that I loved endlessly. And that was great to me for the first few years. In 2011, it just happened that I got a very good job at a very good school and I loved it there, and it was my first job ever and I loved that job. And I think I excelled and I did really well and I learned a lot. I learned so much, you guys, from just working this first year. And then I got a once-in-a-lifetime prize, I guess, or something like that, because I was introduced to Celta by the school that I worked for, and they actually paid for it. So I went there. It was expensive at that time. So I went and I started my Celta training. Before I started, of course, I went for an interview, and I think I did well in the interview, and then they told me that I could start the training. That was not something I was prepared for. Although they told us to be prepared, but I didn't know how much I needed to be prepared. I couldn't imagine how demanding and how difficult and how challenging it was to be in a Celta course. It was just very new and it was shocking to me. I think the first day I was like, I'm not even coming back here, I have to quit. But it was actually a lot of fun and I had a great support group. Shout out to all of them here. I had a few fantastic trainers and they made it easier for all of us to actually sink in what's happening and push us to get to, I think, where we are right now. So it was not a walk in the park. It was a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. The duration, it was 4 weeks, but I think by far it's the hardest 4 weeks in my life, because you wouldn't know what day it is and you wouldn't know if it was day or night, because time was timeless. Time was not there. It was just work, 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 work. And don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun and we learned a lot, but the process was very stressful and very demanding and draining as well. So I think at the end we passed. We all passed, alhamdulillah. I got a B, and that was outstanding for me. I didn't think I would get a B. It was just a very big surprise. And actually I was disappointed. I wanted to get an A, believe it or not. But this is how they explained it to us. They explained to us that in a Celta, an A is not possible. Because if you get an A in a Celta, it means that you're already qualified as a Celta teacher, and that you're just repeating this, right? So B is the highest you can go, right? So that was like, I was really, 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 happy about that then. And from then things changed. I started working for the British Council at that time, and I moved on from one city to the other, and I worked at another British Council in another city, in another country, and so on and so forth. And then I started working. Of course, I worked as a freelancer, and I worked as a part-time teacher with the British Council, because I was already working in other places, right? So to me, this was fantastic. I got the freedom of time that I wanted. At first, it wasn't that easy. I didn't have any freedom of time. I was working day and night, and I was working weekdays and weekends, right? But after, I think, a year or two, I started to back off, and then I started to just do part-time and choose the times that were available for me and that were good for me and that suited me and suited my family life. And I got interviewed by other places other than the British Council. So I worked for the British Council, and I worked for International House and so many other institutes, but these are like the most recognized and international institutes, language institutes, that I can just say right now and tell you about. So I did that for a long while. I still do that now, but why I'm telling you this because sometimes it takes us, it takes a lot of work to get to where you are and what's really good for you and what works for you. For me, this is what I'm comfortable with. I do have my online classes right now. I create my own curriculum, and I do my own courses. I'm qualified, and I know what I'm doing, and I love it, and my students love it and enjoy it as well. But for some other people, this, Celta could be an opportunity for you to travel the world, to live in many places, right? In many different cities, because it's really, really popular. People need to speak English. People want to learn to speak English, and it's, especially Asia and, let's like East Europe and all these places, it's required for you to have a Celta qualification amongst others, but this is the most, let's say, the most demanded one. Like they say, 3 out of 4 language institutes or schools, they always look for a Celta qualified teacher. So you could do that if you want to have a full-time job, or you could do that if you want to have a part-time job like I did, or you can be a freelancer like I've been a freelancer for a long time as well. But consider the Celta. And all of this is just for me to tell you about the Celta, about my story, but I haven't told you anything about Celta itself. So Celta is it's a qualification by Cambridge Institutes, Language Institutes, and it's a lot of high-end institutes run it, like the British Council, International House, just to name a few. They run it, and it's either, you can do it either, full-time, like in 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, or you can do it part-time, and that would take, any time between 2 months, 3 months to a year, depending on the schedule that you signed up for. And it's the beginning of your entire career. It's a really good, actually the best qualification you can get if you want to be an English as second language teacher, right? So this course is not for people who want to teach schools only. You don't want to be a class teacher. You cannot be a Celta qualified class teacher. No, you are Celta. Celta is a certificate for teaching English as a foreign language to adults, right? So you can, and for young learners, because there's an extension as well for YLs. But this is for people who want to teach English as a second language or as a foreign language or as an additional language, right? So if you want to be a classroom teacher or a subject teacher, Celta is not really what you want to go after. This is not the right qualification for you. But if you want to be a teacher in an institute or even in schools that do have a English as a second language department, then that's the way to go. A lot of schools do have that, especially if you're thinking about traveling and going to East Asia or East Europe, so or the Far East as well. There's endless opportunities there. So you have to, of course, qualify for them. You can go online and find the qualifications and take some tests to see if you're qualified. Your English has to be a certain level, so you're qualified to even become an English teacher, right? So if you're not qualified, I suggest that you do get qualified. So you work on your language, and then just go online and find whatever suits you best, like whichever institute is near you or whichever institute you can travel to, whatever just works for you and your budget and your time and all that. You can find it online. It's easy. Just write Celta courses and lots of options will come up to you. I think it's something to consider, and it's something that we need more of, especially here in the Arab world. We need more English qualified teachers to teach English to people who want to learn English but fail because most of the time the teachers don't know what they're doing, or they're just doing it in a very old way, old school way that doesn't really work, and students are suffering. So if you want to help your students succeed, and if you want to help them, be whatever they want to be and give them that opportunity, you've got to be a good teacher and you've got to be a qualified teacher. And Celta it just does that for you. It tells you everything that you need to do. It teaches you how to do that, and it tests you, and it tests your limits as well. Let me just share with you some of the things that we were doing in This brings back memories. Oh, this is actually the other qualification that I got. This is not the one. Let me show you. Yeah, I think it's this one. This is ancient. This is ancient. Yes, it's this one. Oh my God. All right. So, we've got theory and teaching practice in Celta. Okay. So the time is divided equally between both of them. So theory and teaching practice. So you do teach students and you get assessed on that. But before you do teach the students, they tell you how to teach the students. Hence the theory, right? So, and you do get to learn how to plan lessons and plan courses, and beyond that, how to teach these lessons, right? So for example, let's see, like you've got the drilling techniques. What are the drilling techniques, and how to use songs in the classroom, and let's see, some games that you can use that are very popular in teaching English and in teaching in general. Picture stories, exploiting them and how to do that. Yes, and this is a peer observation sheet, like how to observe a peer and how to give feedback as well to that peer, that person in your group. And let's see, this is one, let me see if I can get this open. brings back memories, guys. This brings back memories. Wow. I just get the feeling right now. I don't know if you can relate to it, but you know when you go back to something that you haven't touched in such a long time, and it just brings all the memories back to you, and you can just feel it. You can feel you being there at that time. Your presence. Oh my God. So this one, for example, I don't know if the camera can see it. So this is a very standard procedure page for a lesson plan, right? So you've got the stage, okay, and the aims, and you've got the procedure, which is the how to do it, and the timing. This is actually very tricky and very difficult to grasp and take some practice, right? I always had problems with timing. And yes, the interaction mode, how you're going to interact. So you're basically like being taught how to divide time in your class and what you're going to teach in each one of them, right? In each time slot, I may say, right? So this is an introduction for this. This is, what is this? It's a situational presentation, and the stage is the introduction. So what I'm going to do at the beginning of the lesson, the introduction, to get rapport, so to get acquainted with your students, to get rapport with them, warm up students, and to inform students of lesson aims, to tell them what the lesson's aims are. You write them on the board, and to review past simple. To review, just very quickly review the past simple. And this is what you're going to do, but now you've got to tell them how you're going to do them, right? So you say here, for example, to get rapport. How do you do that? You do that by greeting students. You've got to write it down, right? If you don't write it down, then it's just not there. So, you know, you get like marked down or something like that. And elicit and practice questions. And you know, and questions and answers about last night, for example. That's how you review the past simple, for example. Okay, and you anticipate that this is going to take you about 5 or 6 minutes, and the mode is actually teacher, class, and then after that pairs. So you start and tell the class what to, you know, talk to the class, and then what you probably going to put students in pairs and let them take the lead on the practice, right? So this is just, you know, an example, and this is a lot. This is a teaching practice feedback sheet, and this is the trainer's evaluation of me. And in the introduction they said good, elicit model, and CCQs, well done. I loved the way you made them something, you know, you can never read their handwriting. Anyway, this brings up memories, you guys. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is it's really difficult, but at the same time, put this away, but at the same time it's worth it, and you do learn a lot from these courses and these certifications. And if you want to change the way you teach to the better, if you want to improve yourself, if you want to do, you know, what if you are already a teacher and you want to, you know, get better and get some, you know, professional development, you should get the Celta. And what if you want to change your job and go to a better paying job? You should go to the Celta. It's not that difficult, you guys. It's something you do, and if you've got the language, and if you want to have the skills, they can teach you and help you. And yeah, that's it. I think that's it. I hope I didn't forget anything. If I did, please write down all your questions in the comments below, whether it's here on YouTube or on my page on Instagram or on Facebook, and I will maybe just answer you back right then and there, or I could, if there are lots of questions, I could answer them in another video. Maybe this could have a part 2, you never know, right? So yeah, and tell me what you are doing right now. What job do you have? Are you thinking about getting Celta? Have you applied? Have you, what stages are you in now? Which stage are you in to trying to improve your skills and upgrade your level and becoming a better professional and better teacher and a better trainer? And I think that's it. So I'll see you guys in another video. And please don't forget, this is important, I always forget to say that, don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe somewhere here, and hit the notification button as well. That's important. Like, if you like this, if you got good value from this, please like it, and please do share it. Sharing is always good, and it's caring as well. Stay safe, stay at home, and I'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.